What's up, true believers? Chris Mack coming at you with an absolutely amazing figure review today. We are going over the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Earth -32 Dawnbreaker. And I'm so happy that I finally got my hands on this. I've been biting at the bit. If you guys want to pick this up, I looked at the usual places, Dorkside Toys, Megapolis, and Big Bad Toy Store, and none of them have it. Dorkside Toys shows it, but it is sold out along with the Devastator. So it's like, oh man. So my suggestion would first and foremost check with your local comic shop, see if they can order it for you. If not, how I got mine is my buddy Christopher. We're both part of a group called Sacred Collectibles, and they do live auctions there. And a lot of those people, they will go out of their way to find figures for you. And that's what Chris did for me. So thank you so much, man. If you want to check him out, check out Sacred Collectibles on Facebook, and also his group, which is called Collectible Society Group. He goes out of his way to try to hunt stuff down for people. I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So as you can see here, beautiful figure. Got some cool stuff that we need to look at here in a second. It says Earth -32, which I wish they just put Dawnbreaker because that's how we know him as. And I said I love that DC Multiverse logo. Looks so cool. And then of course McFarlane Toys there, and 22 moving parts. Epic. Come around to the side, you get the side view, Batman -32, McFarlane Toys, Multiverse. Come around to the back and you get the artwork from the comic book cover, which here it says Dark Nights Metal. But if you guys want to read this, which is a great book, beautiful art by Ethan Van Sciver, it is part of the Dark Nights tie, and it's called Batman Dawnbreaker. And then you get the figures here that are from the wave. I'll make sure to get a close-up so you guys can see which ones you want to get. Come around to this side, and as I've been saying with these, if these are on a peg, I love that they have this so you're not having to take every figure down to see which one you want. Come around, just the top, nothing there. Bottom, legal stuff, who cares? But what we do care about is Dawnbreaker an awesome figure or not. So let's get old Brucey here out of the packaging and get a closer look at him. And here's the Dawnbreaker out of his packaging and just looking absolutely beautiful, guys. I love that he comes with his own flight stand, which I will warn you, getting that thing out of the back of the packaging is a pain. We will get into that here in a minute, but I appreciate that McFarlane listens to the fans, learns from his mistakes, even though with this one there is a few things that kind of chap my hide. We'll get again into that in a moment. But overall, the sculpt, the accessories, so superb, and it just leaps and bounds from when this line first came out, where everyone was just like, oh boy, you know what I mean? So yeah, I just wanted to gush at how beautiful it is and how close to comic accurate this action figure is. So with all the gushing aside, let's go ahead and open this figure because there's a lot to love and there's a few things to hate, but you know, that's with every figure. So again, let's go ahead and get this bad boy off the stand. Now, before we get into the Dawnbreaker, let's talk about the accessories this figure comes with. So first, I have never seen a figure come with its own flight stand. So that's really, really cool. And what I like here at the base is DC put their logo, sorry for the light, on the base. So that is really flipping cool. I'm really happy about that. And then if you want to, this part here slides off and you can pose him standing. So that's really neat. Now there's no articulation here on this part like other stands like the NECA ones. So it's just kind of like crud. However, what makes up for that with this is this can go up and down. So you at least get a little bit of options on how you want to pose him flying. So I really like that stand. But what I really love about this is the energy construct here of this translucent Green Lantern power. That is absolutely beautiful. And of course it's bats, but you can see how it looks sort of veiny and sinister on each of them. They're just ready to bite you and go after you, just like in the comics. And because Bruce lets the power ring corrupt him, you can see it in his constructs how the bats kind of go from looking like bats into like this serpent look. So very, very sinister, very well made. And as you saw when he was on the spinner, you can kind of work his hand in here to make it look like he's projecting it from his ring. So beautiful piece overall with that translucent green with a little bit of the black wash. Awesome, awesome accessory. Now the other accessories that Bruce comes with is his card, which I'm afraid to cut out, so I'll throw up a picture of the box here. You can kind of see how cutting that stand out is one heck of a chore. I kind of tore one of the sides of the box because you can't get your hands in there. I wish they'd find out a better way. If you guys know how to properly take those out, let me know down in the comments below. Excuse me on that. Now the back of the card I found does read, in DC's Dark Multiverse on Earth -32, the green light of will has twisted an angry Bruce Wayne into something very dark and sinister. After the murder of his parents in Crime Alley, young Bruce is gifted with a Green Lantern ring, which allows him to fly and to generate deadly hard light energy constructs. With no Alfred Pennyworth to guide him, he soon swallows his fear and pain and lets the void that remains corrupt him and the ring, unleashing a wave of darkness across his world and now ours as the Dawnbreaker. So, the figure, his first appearance, which was kind of a cameo appearance, was in the same one as the Devastator, which is Dark Days, the casting #1, where Bruce has a vision of multiple versions of him dying. And this is where we get our first peek at all these characters, because that was the prelude to Metal. Now, his first appearance was Batman, the Dawnbreaker. I have done a review on that, so make sure to check it out if you want some more backstory on this character. And with that said, let's get a look at this gorgeous figure and the paint apps. And so, that was one thing I wish they would have referenced more in the book is, you can see how the ring has corrupted him, but I wish they would have went more into that in the comics. So he has like this almost zombie-like grin, the beady eyes from this thing, and then I love the leather skull cap of his cowl. And then, have these like life support things, because I don't know if the ring's like poisoning him or whatever. They never really, or at least from what I read, they never reference it. Now, what I appreciate is you can actually take, you have to be a little gentle, or at least this one did. You can pop it out so you can move the head around. We'll get into the articulation in a minute. But yeah, you'd think all this green would be too much, but actually it works perfectly. So let me get a little bit more light on this guy here. And right here, I love how the Batman is right here. And then the logo itself of the Green Lantern, it kind of protrudes out, and see how when you hit it in the light, it just glows correctly. And it just, the way the armor here shines, I like that light green. And then all the cables coming in out of his neck and whatnot with that black, all the different variations of green just really set this figure off. I like how you can see his scowl under his mask. That's nice. And just all that cabling is just really great, and how it goes all across the armor. Love all the little designs. This is what I love about McFarlane Toys, is because they always pay attention to detail for the most part. And just shows, especially in his black armor, how you can see a little bit like the Kevlar green, and then of course the dark green here across his waist section. More cabling here. And then the belt, love that belt, the silver, dark green with the light green. All those set off and bring the whole piece together. More cabling there. And I love to know what all these pieces mean, but again, they never really, like after they introduce these characters, you want to know more about them, and I sort of feel like they fell into the background. I like the cuffs here on his arm. Those are really nice, the little indentions. All the black, great stuff. All the rivets down his leg. Back's kind of a little boring there. Now, you can do what you can. Here's the boots with all the line work. Very, very beautiful. I like the way they kind of protrude out here. That is awesome. Just great work. And then, of course, make it look all the ripples in the boots where his feet are. And I like how he has the pegs here on the bottom. And, of course, the boots just really look like something you do not want to be kicked by. Just great work. I mean, that is a well-sculpted figure. And I just love how, the little beady eyes, I just cannot get over those, or the snarl, especially, just real quick to look again. I mean, look at that face. That is a butterface and a half shell, man. He's like, I'm going to eat your brains, which is perfect for this Halloween season. So yeah, guys, this Dawnbreaker is an awesome, very great comic accurate figure. The articulation is kind of where I feel that this character starts to go off the rails. So let's go ahead and jump into it and I'll explain what I'm talking about. So with the head, we'll get a little bit closer, get a little more focusy here. He can look down that much. Great, no problem. But then you try to get the head to tilt back. And he doesn't really, I mean, no matter how much if you try to utilize the head knocker there, that's about as far as you're gonna get. And then you go down here to the front and you try to twist his head and you have to be ever so careful because of those cables. That's a little frustrating. That's how I found out this popped out, so I don't know if that broke, but thankfully when you straighten the head back up, as I was saying, it pops back in. So if this one's glued in, I'm not gonna even attempt it. So that's a little irritating. The arms can go out that much, and then of course this much, but again, he's hindered because of this armor, so it's just kind of like, frick. Now he does have double jointed elbows. And then here's another thing that really kind of starts to grind my gears with this figure is, just like with the Batgirl that we went over from his earlier work, he has the ball joint in the wrist. So whenever you want to articulate him, you have to make sure that the ball joint's lined up correctly, or else it's not going to work. So when you are able to get that ball joint to work with you, yeah, it's fine, no problem. But he's just kind of lining it up. So you can see he goes front and back, 360. But yeah, that ball joint can be frustrating. Now on a positive note, he can tilt down. So if you kind of grab him here, so the diaphragm can crunch down about that much. And then yeah, I know he has a regular back, and then you kind of tilt him a little bit more, and so you can get a really good flight stance there. So that's really neat. I mean, he's really articulated at the waist, so I really appreciate that. You can kind of twist him there from the top on both sides, but as you kind of hear that, you have to be careful. And then the legs go out this much. Now again, here's where things start to go off the rail again for me. So he can kick out that much, not bad. That far back, not bad. Double jointed knees, yes. But they could do this with the Devastator, but not with him. No boot cut, no thigh cut. So you're limited on how the leg can twist. I mean, in terms of posing, sure, that looks great. But when you're trying to do photography and you don't have that posability, I mean, you can kind of twist his legs here, and that's about it. It's kind of, come on. And then the feet are on those ball joints again, like with Batgirl. So again, you have to be careful when you get them lined up and go up that high, that low. And again, what I've been saying is I'm glad that McFarlane's starting to make this foot pivot thing not as obvious, so it doesn't look as silly. So I'm glad that that is more natural. And then of course he has ankle pivots. So the articulation, definitely a 4 out of 10 for me, because if the Devastator can be super, super bendy, then why did they shirk on the Dawnbreaker? For size comparison, here's the DC designer, Greg Capullo Batman. I know I use him a lot, but I really enjoy this figure. I love the Nightfall one more, but I boxed him up and I really don't want to take him out. So he's kind of become my default dude to use in terms of Batman, because he just looks awesome and more kind of the more modern look. If you want to see a review on him, let me know down in the comments. Here is the metal Batman that we went over last time. Here's the Devastator. And so this figure, just like with the rest of the McFarlane line, runs somewhere around 7 inches. This one's somewhere in the 6-inch mark, 6.5. And this big Mamma Jamma with his awesome articulation compared to this one, 8 inches tall. Gorgeous sculpted figures. So if you do photography like I do, these are going to be right up your alley, guys. If you're more just like you like to put them on a shelf and get them in the fight scenes and whatnot, you're also going to have a great time with these figures, because, yeah, when I saw McFarlane was going to release the metal line, I was hesitant at first, but as I always say, I love when my expectations are subverted in that way, where I'm pleasantly surprised. And these figures, just at a glance, problems and all, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm glad to say I have these in my collection, and I can't wait to hear what you all think of these figures down in the comments below. This figure is absolutely awesome, guys. Yeah, there are a few things that are wrong, but I can forgive that because this is such a comic accurate, beautiful figure. I am absolutely loving all the Dark Nights that have come out thus far, and we will be going over the leader, the Batman Who Laughs, soon. But I wanted to show off all these amazing figures. The paint apps are gorgeous. The sculpting, oh man, just gorgeous work overall. As I said, the only things that really kill me is how you can't tilt his head up a whole lot. It's just sort of like, come on. I mean, you can get creative with the Devastators. Like, did you just kind of decide to sort of shirk on this figure? You know what I mean? But I'll forgive that. And I think the only thing else that really chaps my hide is the fact that he doesn't have a thigh cut or a boot cut. It's sort of like all the other figures thus far have. So why not this one? And then just like with the Batgirl figure, he has the ball joints in his ankles and his wrists. So again, he has great articulation, but you have to be careful when you're spinning it, because you have to make sure the ball lines up where you want the wrist to go. So that can be a little irritating, but forgivable. Overall, 8 out of 10 for me, y'all. I mean, the Devastator really broke the mold, and I'm absolutely in love with that figure. But just to have a Dawnbreaker alongside it, yeah, I'm a happy camper. I can't complain too much. So if you guys have enjoyed this figure, please first and foremost support your local comic shop. See if they can get one in stock for you. If not, like I said, these figures currently are sold out. So I would suggest checking out some of these online action figure auctions to see if anyone can hook you up, kind of like how my friend did with this one. Or the secondary market, which sadly there's going to be some really high prices for both this guy and the Devastator. If you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little bat bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys can come to the channel. And we love to hear your feedback and just chat with y'all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So stand by, photo slideshow coming up next. And with all that said, I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.